2 weeks passed before I saw her again. We met at a quiet place, no drama, just a conversation that needed to happen. She looked different, tired, maybe ashamed. I didn't feel anger anymore, just exhaustion. She started by saying she hadn't spoken to Mark since ending things, that she was focusing on herself, on therapy. She said she still loved me. I told her I believed her, but that wasn't the point anymore. Love isn't always enough when trust is gone. We talked for over an hour. She cried. I didn't. I'd already cried all my tears when I was alone. She admitted she had been selfish, that she was looking for attention and validation, and didn't realize how deep she'd gone until it was too late. I didn't argue, I just listened. At the end of it, she asked if I wanted to try again. I told her I didn't know. I moved into a small apartment the following week. She stayed in the house. We agreed on space, no promises, no pressure. I started therapy on my own, and for the first time in years, I talked honestly about the resentment I'd built up, about how I felt invisible sometimes, about how I kept pushing through life without checking in with myself. I wasn't perfect in our marriage, and I finally admitted that. But I also knew I didn't cause her betrayal. That choice was hers. We met a few more times, each one less emotional than the last. Something between us had shifted permanently. There was no more pretending, no more softening the truth. Eventually, she stopped suggesting we try again. Maybe she realized what I had, that the version of us we missed didn't exist anymore. Months passed. I started feeling lighter, more present. I picked up old hobbies. I reconnected with friends I'd drifted from. I stopped checking my phone waiting for her messages. I stopped picturing her with him. I accepted that healing isn't clean. It's messy and slow and full of steps backward. But one day, I woke up and realized I hadn't thought about them at all the day before. That was progress. 6 months later, I heard through a mutual friend that she and Mark had tried seeing each other again, but it didn't last. It didn't surprise me. They were built on a lie. I didn't feel smug. I didn't feel anything. That chapter had closed. She messaged me once after that, a short, simple line. "I hope you're doing okay." I didn't respond. Not out of bitterness, but because I finally was okay. I didn't need to reopen that door. I had survived something that broke me, and I rebuilt myself from it. I still think about her sometimes, not with anger or longing, just memory. She was a huge part of my life, but I don't miss the pain. I don't miss the doubt. And I don't miss the version of myself who stayed silent to keep peace. Now I choose peace over everything, even if it means being alone. 3 weeks passed before I agreed to another session, not for her, for me. I needed closure, or at least clarity. I wasn't sure what I expected to feel walking back into that room, but it definitely wasn't calm. I wasn't angry anymore. I was just tired. Of thinking, of replaying, of pretending that maybe things could return to what they were. She looked at me like she wanted to believe this meant something, that showing up was a step forward. But I wasn't there to rebuild anything. I knew that now. She said she still loved me, that she wanted to start over, that what we had mattered. I listened. I owed her that much. But I didn't feel moved. I didn't feel connected. I felt like someone watching a stranger beg for forgiveness, using memories that no longer felt like mine. I told her I believed she meant it, that I didn't think she was lying anymore. But something had changed in me the moment she confessed. Something snapped and never came back. I didn't feel safe with her, not emotionally, not mentally, maybe not even physically. And love without safety isn't love worth saving. She cried again, told me she would fight for us, that she'd cut contact, that she'd do anything. But it was too late. I wasn't looking for effort anymore. I was looking for distance. I told her I was moving out, that I'd already signed a lease. Her expression cracked for the first time since that day in therapy. Not confusion, acceptance. She nodded, said she understood. I think she really did. We didn't fight. We didn't argue. No screaming, no begging, just the end. Quiet, almost too civil. She helped me pack, asked if I wanted to keep a photo of us from our honeymoon. I said no. In my new apartment, the silence was loud but clean. No tension in the air, no avoiding glances. I could finally think without spiraling. I started going on hikes, reading again, seeing friends I'd pushed aside during the worst of it. I wasn't healed, but I was free. She texted me one last time, weeks after I left. "I hope you find peace," it said. I didn't reply. Not out of spite, I just didn't have anything else to say. That chapter was finished. People always say closure comes from understanding why. But I think closure comes when you stop needing the why to move forward. I didn't need more answers. I didn't need her explanations. I needed to live a life that didn't revolve around betrayal. The person I loved doesn't exist anymore. Maybe she never did. Maybe I loved the version I wanted her to be. But that doesn't make it less real to me. It just makes it over. And somehow, in all the wreckage, I found a strange kind of peace. Not the kind that comes from forgiveness, but the kind that comes from finally letting go. The first couple of therapy sessions were surface level. We talked about communication, stress, drifting apart. Maya was quiet most of the time, offering short answers, nods, and forced smiles. I did most of the talking, explaining our routines, how things used to be, how different she'd become. The therapist listened carefully, asked open-ended questions. Still, it felt like we were circling something neither of us wanted to name. Then, in the third session, everything shifted. The therapist asked Maya a simple question, gently, "What do you think you've been holding back from saying?" That sentence changed everything. Maya didn't answer right away. She looked down, started fidgeting with her wedding ring. I could feel something coming, but I didn't know what. Long pause. After a few seconds of silence, her voice cracked as she said, voice cracking, "I haven't been honest." I remember how still the room became. Even the air felt heavier. I sat up straighter, confused. She wasn't looking at me, just at her hands. Then she said it. Softly, "I've been seeing someone else." My mind stopped. For a moment, I didn't understand the words. Like she was speaking another language. I stared at her, hoping I'd misheard. She kept going, voice trembling but steady. Trembling voice. "It happened a few months ago. Someone from work. It wasn't planned. It just happened." I didn't say anything. I couldn't. My throat closed up. My hands were shaking. She started crying, not loud sobs, but quiet tears that rolled down without effort. Crying, "I didn't mean for it to go that far," she said. Tearfully, I felt alone, and I needed something, someone, to make me feel like I mattered again. She kept explaining, said it started during a work trip. Drinks, laughter, a conversation that felt easier than the ones we'd been having. She felt seen, she said, like someone actually noticed her again. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Everything inside me was trying to scream, but all I could do was sit there, numb. She said it wasn't just physical. That made it worse. If it were just sex, maybe I could file it away as a stupid mistake. But she admitted to sharing feelings, memories, things I thought were sacred between us. She said she ended it weeks ago, that she felt guilty every day, that the guilt was killing her. I didn't care. The therapist asked me how I felt. I didn't answer. What could I say? I felt betrayed, humiliated, dismantled. I was in the middle of a nightmare I hadn't seen coming. I didn't yell, I didn't cry. I just stared at the floor, wondering if this was the moment everything officially ended. She reached out to touch my hand. I pulled away. I had no words, just a question echoing in my head. How do you come back from this? I didn't know then that the answer was, you don't.